Hello, gremlins. So nice to see you again. I hope you guys had an awesome Easter if you celebrate Easter. And I hope overall you're just doing spectacular. Oh, let's all take a moment to acknowledge that Buster the Bobcat has rejoined us. He's back. Yeah. Good job with your Titanic facts that you guys submitted on Friday. I did end up learning some new things, so some of you got some extra credit. Then in attendance question news, the battle of the ice creams continues. Moose Tracks defeated Strawberry, so congrats, you made the right choice there. And then today, I believe you were voting on raspberry versus banana cream. I think both of those are gross. Anyway, let's get into today's topic. Today, we are finishing up the North and the South, and we're gonna be comparing and contrasting them. Here is a quick map showing which states are in which of these regions. We're gonna basically be making an ESPN chart over the next 2 days. You made these back in the fall when we studied the colonies, and now you're doing it again. Let's jump into reviewing these regions. We are going to be comparing and contrasting their economy, their society, their politics, and their environments. We will not be going in that order because I don't feel like it. So I'm going to be putting some timestamps down below to help you as you are doing your assignment. And I'm going to show you how to do the assignment at the end of this video, so make sure you watch this whole thing, okay? So let's review. We're going to be starting off with the environment. The environment in the North varied, but generally it had warm summers but cold winters. Not the best weather for farming. In the North there were a lot of forests, which were good for getting lumber from, and then there were also a lot of bays, which were good for trading ports. The other thing to note about the environment in the North were that there were a lot of big cities where people lived. To name a few, Philadelphia, Boston, New York City. The South, on the other hand, very warm and sunny weather, perfect for agriculture. There were a lot of rivers, which were good for steamboat travel. And then in general, the South was a lot more rural, the population was a lot more spread out, and generally there were just a lot more small towns than cities. Okay, on to the economy. The northern economy was based on a bunch of different industries. Manufacturing was a big one. That's where the factory system came in. But they also had lumber, they had trading, they had mining. Items like textiles and iron and ships were produced in really big quantities. They had a really big railroad system compared to the South. Here is how many miles of railroad they had. I could not remember that off the top of my head, so that's why I'm inserting that there. Now on to the southern economy. As I'm sure we are very aware, the southern economy was based around mass agriculture. Cash crops were how they made all of their money, and as we know, cotton was king of the cash crops. These cash crops were grown on plantations, which were big farms that required a large workforce, which is why the South became so dependent on slave labor. That does it for economy. Now on to society. Starting with the North. The North had a population of 31 million people. And as you would probably remember, there were a lot of immigrants that were going to the North to work in the factories, especially Irish immigrants. There were a lot of German immigrants, and a lot of the population lived in these cities, which were really crowded and dirty and kind of nasty. The South, on the other hand, had a population of 12 million people, 4 million of whom were enslaved people. And then we talked in the South about how it was very unequal. You were basically like really rich or really poor, but as long as you were white, you were kind of united by the shared racism. And then unlike in the North, most people lived on farms in small towns in the South. Last but not least, let's go over the politics. So we're actually going to only focus on one political aspect, and that was the biggest issue of the day. It was slavery. So we know from our abolitionist movement lessons that the North was becoming very anti-slavery. And so, as America started pushing westward, Northerners were very against the spread of slavery, and so they favored free states. And then of course you have the South, who was very pro-slavery because their way of life was built around it. Because a lot of the land in the South was already taken by plantations, people wanted to move out of the South into the Western territories to get their own land so they could have their own plantation. If they were going to have their own plantations though, they wanted to make sure that slavery was going to be legal in these states. So they were in favor of spreading slavery into the West, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is going to cause some issues. So as we can kind of see, if we compare these two regions, there's not a lot in common besides the fact that they were both American. But keep in mind that back then, a ton of people were still more loyal to their state than they were to their country. The country was not even 100 years old yet. So really, there wasn't a ton holding these regions together besides being part of the same country. And you know, some people are starting to think, hey, that could change. So with that being said, we are gonna put everything in this video together on these ESPN charts. So let me show you how we're gonna do that. Okay, so this is your assignment. You've got an ESPN chart for the northern states and one for the southern states. So you have a section to write about each of the things we talked about today: economy, society, politics, and environment. There is a section for you to write down some facts. You can just go back to the section in the video where I talked about this stuff and just jot down a few things from there. And then there's also a section to place a picture that represents the information. So for instance, I'll do the northern states politics for you as an example. Facts. All right, what do we know about northern states politics? Well, here's one thing. In this case, one bullet point would probably be fine. I think anti-slavery sums it up well enough, but if you want, you could add some more detail. I don't think one bullet point would work on all the sections, so keep that in mind, but if you feel like one bullet point is enough, then go for it. Once you got your facts written down, then go find a picture that kind of represents the information in this section. Find a picture you like and then just copy and paste it onto your chart. Make sure you place it in the correct spot. Then just adjust it to fit. Remember to use your cropping tool. And there you go, you are done with one section. So just do the same for all of the sections on both charts and then you will be good to go. So make sure you write a fact and you find a picture to represent the environment. So you're gonna write a fact, you're gonna find a picture to represent the environment, politics, society, economy for each of these regions. You're gonna have 2 days to work on this, so don't stress yourself out too much. And so that's all from me. Good luck with this, and I will see you on Friday, I think. Bye, gremlins.